In the stifling July heat of 2013, tucked deep within the rolling hills and dense pine woods of Black Hollow, Tennessee, lay a forgotten village steeped in silence and shadows. Though the sunlit lakes shimmered and the trees rustled gently by day, the locals lived in quiet fear. Because when the moon rose and the wind died, something stirred in the woods. They called her the Wraith, a ghost, a curse, a warning no one truly knew. But they had heard her cries, high-pitched guttural wails that echoed through the trees and froze the blood in your veins. People said she roamed the ruins of Hollowell House, an old rotting estate abandoned on the outskirts of town. No one dared go near it after sunset, but Dr. Jackson Ward, a 31-year-old folklore researcher from Memphis, had heard the whispers. And unlike the locals, he came seeking truth. Jackson wasn't just another thrill seeker. He dedicated his life to documenting rural legends with dark roots. When he stepped into Black Hollow, locals gave him tight-lipped nods and shut doors. The gas station clerk wouldn't meet his eyes. The bartender at Miller's Tap told him flat out, "You go digging into that house, you might not come back. The woods have teeth." Only Pastor Whitaker, a retired preacher with watery eyes and a trembling hand, gave him something real. "I've seen her," he said, voice breaking. "She stands under the pines, in that same dress every time, white, shredded, soaked at the hem. Her hair covers her face, but her eyes..." He shook his head. "God help you if she looks at you." Jackson didn't flinch. That night, he packed his flashlight, his recorder, and his resolve, and made for Hollowell House. The house emerged from the woods like a wound, its walls leaning, its roof sagging, its windows like gaping mouths. Vines strangled the porch. The air around it was too still. Jackson pushed open the rusted gate. It screamed like a dying animal. Inside, the air changed. The stench of rot mixed with something coppery, blood. His flashlight flickered with each step. The floorboards creaked beneath his boots, loud in the hush. Then came the sound. A long, drawn-out cry. Not human, not animal. A sound dragged up from the bottom of the grave. Jackson froze. He wasn't alone. In the shattered remains of the parlor mirror, he saw her reflection first, half-formed, flickering. Sorry for the interruption. If you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button below. So, let's continue the video. A woman in white, face obscured by a waterfall of black hair. Her body trembled, her chest rising with silent sobs. Then she turned. Her face wasn't right. It was grief personified. Eyes sunken and glowing faintly, her mouth stretched in permanent anguish. Around her throat, a dark, jagged bruise. She looked straight at him. "Clara," Jackson whispered. The Wraith tilted her head, her neck cracking with the sound of dry branches snapping. She spoke, her voice coming from everywhere and nowhere. "I was betrayed, murdered, buried beneath lies. Bring me justice, or join me." The lights died. When they came back on, she was gone. But the room was ice cold, and Jackson's breath fogged in the air. The next day, Jackson dove into the town archives. Dust choked the records room, but hidden among yellowed newspaper clippings and brittle court documents, he found her name: Clara Hollowell, daughter of the town's wealthiest family, set to marry a powerful banker's son in 1960. The official story: she slipped and fell to her death in the family home, hours before her wedding. But buried in a crumbling journal was a chilling detail. Clara had fled her engagement. She'd uncovered fraud and betrayal, and a cousin who stood to inherit everything if she disappeared. That same cousin vanished a year later in a hunting accident. Clara never left the manor. That night, Jackson barely slept. Cold air clung to his skin, even under blankets. Shadows danced on the walls. At 3:03 a.m., he woke to a whisper in his ear. He covered it up. Find it. The next morning, his hands were streaked with dirt. Pine needles covered his sheets. She'd taken him there, in his sleep. Jackson returned to Hollowell House, armed with everything. The journal, church-blessed water, and an old prayer of release whispered to him by Pastor Whitaker. The Wraith appeared before him as he stepped into the grand hall. This time, her shape was clearer, more solid. Her sobs were no longer sorrowful. They were furious. The truth is not enough, she hissed. Find the proof, uncover what he hid. She vanished, and Jackson followed a feeling. Something pulling him toward the broken floorboards in the ballroom. He pried them up with bloodied fingers. Beneath, a small silver locket. Its chain snapped, its surface caked in dried blood. The air trembled. Jackson poured holy water onto the locket and began to speak the prayer. The house groaned around him. Clara's scream exploded through the air, so loud it felt like his ears would bleed. Her form twisted above the floorboards, her head jerking, her neck cracking, mouth stretching impossibly wide. Still, Jackson recited. The locket shattered. Clara's scream became a sigh. Light surrounded her, lifting her, dispersing the anguish that clung to the wood and walls. The manor exhaled, and silence settled like dust. The next morning, Black Hollow was different. The birds returned. The air was lighter. Locals stopped crossing themselves when they passed the edge of the woods. Jackson published The Wraith of Black Hollow, a bestseller that terrified readers nationwide. But fame didn't chase away the darkness. Some nights, Jackson wakes to the scent of pine and cold earth. He sees her standing at the edge of his bedroom, her dress no longer torn, her eyes less angry, but still sad. "You freed me," she whispers, "but I remain." Because in Black Hollow, and in every place grief goes unspoken, horror leaves fingerprints, on wood, on walls, on the soul. And some spirits, even in peace, never truly go away. You guys watch the videos, but don't forget to hit that follow button. A lot of effort goes into making these videos, and when you follow and share, it keeps me motivated to create more. So please, make sure to follow. Still watching, but not subscribed. A lot of effort goes into making these videos. When you subscribe and share, it keeps me motivated to create more. So please, make sure to subscribe.